Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, welcome and it's happy to have you. Today we're going to be working on an apartment renovation. This apartment is one that's inside my shoe now. I'm not sure which district it is. You can see the name in the top corner of the video, but I'm not totally sure which district this is in. But this is a new apartment that I've never renovated before. It's honestly a really large apartment, and prior to, I think it's the snow escape update, before the platform update, I was always really apprehensive of doing these apartments because they're on the taller wall height or medium wall height. I always find it really difficult to decorate those apartments because you need to fill up all the wall space and it can always be a bit difficult. So now that we have the platforms, it's a lot easier to customize these apartments and make them feel a bit more realistic, because as much as we like having the overhead space, maybe in real life, in The Sims you can make the rooms feel really empty really quickly, and we don't have enough art to kind of fill all the walls and enough things, and it can make a build look really cluttered really quickly. So I also, another thing in this apartment is I used the tool mod to change all the windows in this apartment, because I don't know about you guys, but I really do not like the windows that came with the apartments. I don't like the window placement. And now that I know how to do it, I always change out the windows, and I ended up using the mosquito windows in these apartments just because I felt like they offered the most light, they looked really pretty, they matched the aesthetic of the apartment, and they just, I don't know, they fit a little bit better. Originally it was those big like rectangle windows, those big glass ones, and they were okay, but they weren't quite exactly what I wanted. And also it's the window placement that's a big problem, and I feel like that was one of the things that used to always stop me from decorating apartments and revamping apartments, was that you couldn't change the windows, you couldn't change the wall height. It just felt really constrictive. But now that I've got the tool mod and I've got the platform tool, apartments are one of my favorite things to do, and they're also just really easy to do and really fun to do, because you don't have to worry about the exterior, you don't have to worry about the backyard, landscaping. None of that is in there. You can just go in and simply just spend a few hours decorating an apartment. I feel like this apartment took me possibly about 3 hours, 4 hours, but that's because I kept sitting down, recording for a little bit, getting up and going to go sit with my friends and my family who was here, because I recorded this video on Friday, and because there was a problem with the upload for Friday, so this video was supposed to go up Friday afternoon, but I had friends and family over and I couldn't record the voiceover because it was way too noisy, and I just decided, you know what, I'll just release this video now on Monday. But if you're curious, I'll leave the tool mod in the description box below, and also the reed shelf that I'm using it to help decorate the kitchen, I'll leave that in the description below. The tool mod is what I always use to help me change the windows in apartments and delete the plaques. This was a historical apartment previously, and I just deleted all the plaques. I don't know if that changes anything for gameplay, but I deleted the plaques, and the tool mod is just a complete lifesaver. I sing its praises in every video, but I don't know what I'd do without it. I use it to resize plants like I'm doing here. I use it to change out windows, change the sizing of rugs, which is honestly a lifesaver, because changing the size of your rug, even just a little bit, just like a fraction, can honestly make a really big difference in just your decoration. And sometimes they're just a little bit too big and it makes it perfect. And that's why I love the tool mod, is it just allows for those little subtle changes. Even here with the plants on the shelves, I was able to change the sizing just to make them perfect. So I don't know, I wouldn't be able to build without the tool mod. But the kitchen, I've talked all the way over. I ended up using the Dream Home Decorator cabinet set, and I love the Dream Home Decorator pack just because of the kitchens that it came with. I'm not a big fan of all the upper cabinets, and I would prefer a wooden block on top of the sage green color. Is the sage green? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's sage green. But I just decided to use the Dream Home Decorator. I was literally going to use Parenthood, but I feel like I use Parenthood in like way too many of my houses and way too many of my apartments. Just I use it way too often, mainly because they're the best cabinet set that we have at the moment in the game. And I never used the Dream Home Decorator one, so I wanted to use it in this build, and it took me a little bit to figure out the layout of the kitchen, as you might have noticed. But in the end, it did come really well together, and I'm really happy with how it came out. I was able to include a dining space. Now, this apartment does sleep 8 Sims, and there's only dining space for 5 Sims, but there's also a island that seats another 3. So feasibly, all your Sims can sit down and eat together. It just wouldn't all be around the same table. But I don't think that's too much of a problem. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm playing The Sims, I've taken screenshots when it's happened, but I don't often get my Sims to eat any meal all together. Like maybe Harvest Fest and like the occasional breakfast. But other than that, my Sims never eat together. One always goes to sit in front of the TV and eat, and one sits at the dining room table, and the other one sits at the island. But this time I also all 3 have a conversation, which is kind of true to real life. I don't know about you guys, but my family doesn't really eat together. We kind of all just hang in our own spaces. Sometimes we'll eat around the dinner table together, but sometimes mostly not. Here you can see I'm working on the bathroom, and in the bathroom I decided to split up the space because it was a really large and long bathroom, and I always struggle with really large bathrooms. I never know what to exactly put in them, and I already had the laundry reading off of the entryway, so I just decided to split it up at a half wall, and it's got it's got 2 baths I think in this entire build. I'm not entirely sure. It's only been like 2 days since I've recorded this and I've really forgotten. But something else about this build is you notice that I added a different entryway into this. So because this apartment is on a platform and originally it is on a medium wall height, I made a new entrance into the apartment by creating a little hallway. I did put a mailbox and a trash chute in that fake hallway, and I added a different door, like an older looking door, because I felt like this apartment leaned a little bit older in decoration and in style. So basically I just wanted to create something that was like a different entryway, because I'm not a big fan of the doors that it comes with. And yes, I can change the doors with the tool mod and it does work, but I don't know, I prefer to just have that entryway that's got the stairs that leads up without, because it doesn't make it too awkward. Sometimes in some of my apartment builds, which I have done many apartment builds, I'll put the playlist in the description box if you're interested. Typically I renovate the eco lifestyle apartments, the evergreen harbor ones, but typically I will change the front door, but not in this build. And I really like how this build came together. I really love the floor plan for this apartment, and it came together really, really easy. I typically will sit with the floor plan for ages, and by ages I mean hours, and I can just never figure it out and figure out how I want things to flow into one another. And it's always really satisfying when you are making a floor plan and it comes together really easily, or sometimes it doesn't come together really easy. Sometimes you can sit with a floor plan for a really long time, but when you find the perfect floor plan and it flows really well together, it's always really satisfying. And that's what I most enjoy about The Sims, is making floor plans, even though I struggle with it every single time. My favorite thing is to make a house from scratch and try to figure out where does everything go. And I don't know, that's always been my favorite thing about The Sims, is making houses and making floor plans and trying to figure out what goes where, and imagining maybe even what my house would look like someday. But here in the house I worked on just adding some little bit of clutter from the entryway. Typically I would add that side table and mirror and shoes. Typically I'd add that in the actual entryway, but as you can see there was no space in the entryway. It's just a 2x2 square, so I added in the living room. I hope that this year we can get a kit that's got like really good living room clutter. Like, give me a bowl with house keys in it, not just car keys, but like house keys. Just give me a bowl of keys in it. I'd love to add that on my side tables from now on. I did have to edit out a lot of this living room because I changed this living room an embarrassing amount of times, when you consider the fact that I ended up going with the original sofas that I put down, just in a different swatch. So I spared you, I cut it out, it's gone. But it did take me a long time to figure it out, because originally I was going to make this room really yellow and really bright, but the parents' room, it turned out to be extremely yellow, and I didn't mean for that. Yellow is just my favorite color, and I always tend to decorate in yellows. When I don't have a particular theme I'm going for, I will always decorate with a yellow or a blue. And I decorated this entire room and I made it yellow, and then I realized the parents' room was yellow and this is not the Not So Berry challenge. So I went back and I changed everything to blue, and those armchairs, they come in a perfect swatch to match the other sofas from Parenthood. And I don't often use the sofas from Parenthood, mainly because the swatches are really funky on them. I think there's only like 3 swatches I use on there, but basically only 2, which is the blue one I use now, the yellow swatch, and there's like this dark green swatch with like this dark rich red wood on it. Typically those are the only ones that I'll use, but maybe this year we can get like a living room kit. We got a kitchen kit, and we got like an industrial loft kit, and maybe we can get a living room kit that's got like living room clutter. I think I would want like a couch kit. I don't know. If you guys would like me to make a video where I sit down and discuss what my top kits are for 2022, let me know, because I'd be keen to make that video and sit down and discuss on camera and hang out with you guys and do a video where we can talk about if we are going to get kits, and kits are replacing stuff bags, which not confirmed, not actually a thing, it just seems like it. But if you guys would like me to make a video where I sit down and I talk about kits, and we can discuss in the comments to let me know what kind of kits do you want. So yeah, let me know in the comments, what kind of kits do you want in 2022? Like, if you had to get a kit, because we all know we're getting kits. Didn't The Sims just release a poster that told us what they're doing for this year? It's a wedding game pack, which not totally confirmed, but kind of confirmed. And we're getting 2 kits, I think, and some base game updates, I believe. Which, keep the base game updates coming. But they are threatening us with 2 more kits. And if you guys would like to let me know, what kind of kits would you guys tolerate essentially in The Sims? Leave me know in the comments below, and I'll make a video where I sit down and we can discuss kits, and we can discuss what we want, what we don't want. Maybe I'll record that video this week and I'll put it out Friday. Let me know. But I've spoken over the boys' room. Basically, this is just a teen's room. Originally, I decorated this room to be really pink and really girly and really young, but I don't know, I thought I really wanted to use the tiny living beds, and I haven't used them in a really long time. I typically use now Dream Home decorator beds, and I wanted to use those beds in this build. So I think that these 2 bed swatches go really well together, and this room looks really nice. I imagine these boys that live here, maybe one is 18 and the other's like 16, and the 2 of them are best friends and they do everything together and they support each other at all their sports games. Yes, I said sports games. Go sports. But essentially I thought that they were best friends and they did everything together, and they were born really close together, I imagine, and there was a little bit of a gap before the sisters came along, because I imagine the sisters are twins, and then there is like a younger kid, and then the parents thought they were done, and then they had a toddler. So there is 6 children in this house, and the only Sims I really came up with a backstory for was the daughters, which is this room that I'm working on now, which obviously you can put any Sims in any of the rooms. And I don't know how to upload apartments like this to the gallery. If you guys know, let me know, because it's got platforms everywhere, and it's also got windows. So maybe I need to start uploading my save file with these apartments in them. I'm not totally sure. But coming back to this girl's room, I thought that these girls could be like into crafts and into making their own clothing. Maybe they want to be in the fashion career. That's kind of the idea I was going for. And so I used some of the nifty knitting things because it's got all those craft like glue guns and yarn and things like that. And I added some mannequins because I often use the mannequins just for scale when I'm playing with platforms. I will always grab the mannequins from, I think it's Get to Work, and I'll just make sure that the adults fit in the rooms after I've put platforms in. But then I decided, why don't I just have these Sims be fashion designers or want to be fashion designers? And especially in a city like this, like San Marino, I imagine they see a lot of different styles and a lot of different fashion everywhere. So maybe they're just really inspired by what they see all around. And I also included a ton of plants in this room because I imagine they are really into plants and greenery. And I feel like honestly this might be the best room in the entire apartment. Maybe this should have actually been the parents' room, but I don't know, I like the idea that that's the little girl's room and it's got all that natural light. And maybe the parents thought, you know what, I'm going to give the kids the better room because maybe they think that the kids spend more time in their rooms, so the kids get the better rooms. And maybe the parents are just always out and working. I don't have a backstory necessarily for the parents, and I'm not sure what the parents do. Maybe the one works in food and the other works in entertainment, but I didn't really come up with a backstory for any of these Sims besides the girls. But I did think of how the family was made and in which order the kids were born, and I do think that the teen sons had a little bit of a gap between them, like a year and a half gap. They became really close together, and then they had the twin girls, and they thought, okay, we'll just have one more. And they had the middle child, which is the child Sim at the moment, who stays in this room that I'm working on. And then they thought, you know what, we're done, we're not gonna have any more. And that's when the toddler came along and surprised them. Well, it wasn't born a toddler, it was born a baby, but that's when the latest one came along and surprised them. And this room is also a corner room. It's also covered in windows, and I tried to go with a more neutral color scheme in this room because I wasn't sure what type of Sim lived in this room, and maybe it could be a mix of both types of Sims. So I don't know. I wanted to go with a more neutral color scheme, and I like this color scheme, although I think the wallpaper is pretty ugly, I will admit, but like ugly in a good way. And I like how the room came together. But I also ended up, and something I didn't mention is that there is a cat in this apartment, and I did add a cat tree. I deleted the bookcase so that I could add a cat tree, and I replaced it with another bookcase. And there is the pet bowls in the kitchen, and there's also a litter tray in the laundry room as well. So I did go back and add everything you needed for the cat. So if you wanted to have a cat in this apartment and only play with 7 Sims, that's totally fine. But that brings us to the end of the build. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you don't mind, please remember to like the video. It helps out the channel, helps the channel grow. Comment and let me know what kind of kits you would like for 2022 so I can use them to in a video coming this week. And remember to subscribe so you can catch the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day. Remember to stay kind to each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!